lot of you who don't understand gang stalking, this has very little to do with spirits and spirituality, other than controlling your perspective and using these ideas to try to downplay what is really going on and to cast doubt on what is really going on. They want to amplify your fears. They want to circumscribe any resistance. They often question the victim with very circumspect questions, well thought out questions. These are shrewd serpents, and not too many of them are cunning. They're not too smart, okay? The best way to look at this to truly understand what is going on is people who aren't too insightful. These people, when it comes to telling them what to do and for them learning things to do, they've learned they learn things and they can apply things. But thinking outside the box, critical thinking, deductive reasoning, no, they're not too bright. They have a lot of experience at this stuff, and what it really boils down to is doing studies and clinical trials and non-consensual experimentation, mostly drugs and technology, and throwing in other stuff to see, how can we play someone out as crazy? How can we further our techniques of, social control? And one of the main things going on here is trying to get people to respect certain peoples. So this is also part of why, this is also part of why they don't kill people. First and foremost, these people have a lot to lose in their minds, okay? They don't want to be implicated in a conspiracy to commit murder. They don't want to be an accomplice, and so on. They're cowards. They're not exactly jailbirds. There are some people who are dropouts in gangs and some people who are active gang members and so on and so forth. But there are too many yuppies, ninnies, and bourgeoisie cowards involved, for them to be interested in killing people. When they know that you are a major threat, I haven't seen too many TIs who are a major threat to what they're trying to do, other than myself. In fact, I haven't seen a single one. I've seen people that they don't like the way that, people whose, political beliefs that they don't like. But I haven't seen people who are an actual threat to them. Okay, no uncontrolled revolutionary figures, nobody who, has talents, that challenge their social control and their positions of social control in the way that I, mine do, in the way that I have. Okay, all cockiness aside, these are the facts. When you step out and look at it, who is the most hated TI in America? Hands down, it is me. All cockiness aside, all ideas of self-importance aside, not to toot my own horn, but these are the facts. I mean, let's look at it. The main reason they're doing this is for political control, social control. And you need social controllers in positions of social control. People who have that in mind. Not uncontrolled opposition who are challenging all the other social controllers. So when you're looking at TIs, how many people do you see that are really vying for power with one of the social controllers? With, say, to be the next Nobel Prize winner, or to be, a famous actor on TV, to be the most famous celebrity, or to be the top martial artist, or to be the president, and so on and so forth. You don't really see that. You don't see any target individuals who are really, in a power struggle with these people other than myself. You see people who get more views on their channels, but are they the top martial artist who's being shunned for their political views? No. They're just somebody who's getting their views out there, and more power to them. But let's look at this for what it actually is, shall we? Let's not kid ourselves. Okay? They want me dead because of my beliefs and my capacity to bring change to America and perhaps to the world. So they have tried in roundabout ways that include a whole bunch of plausible deniability. What I am propounding isn't absurd, it's just common sense. I mean, it's impossible to look at this, listen to what I have to say, and to see it any other way, you know, and to still be honest with yourself and others. I mean, I'd be fucking astounded if I was wrong, you know. I'd be just, you know, dumbstruck. It's impossible, you know. So that has to be considered with this as well. And also looking at the way things work, I myself, as a result of this, do not trust any political activist or, you know, revolutionary figure, may as well call it that, you know, any person who claims to be uncontrolled opposition who isn't a targeted individual. If you're not a targeted individual, you have no business trying to be a leader. You understand me? If you come off as completely fucking normal and everything's happy and, you know, honky-dory in your life, you know, you're controlled, whether you see it or not, directly or otherwise. I personally do not, you know, would not even consider teaming up with, you know, sharing power or following, especially not following, somebody who isn't a targeted individual, who hasn't proven beyond any doubt, the way I have, that they're not a perpetrator. Okay? And that's just common sense, really. You know, the New World Order identifies people who are a threat to it, and they deal with them. If you're not being if you're not either dealt with or in the process of being dealt with by the New World Order, who the fuck are you? You're nobody. You're controlled. You know, what the fuck are you gonna leave me for? You know? I mean, serious. And I think every targeted individual should see it that way. But if they haven't targeted you, you're not doing nothing. You're nobody. You know, you're just a puppet. You know, pat yourself on the back. You know, your followers are idiots and you're a puppet. You're not bringing any real change. I can't respect that. I don't see why on earth anybody would respect that. You know, I mean, these people compound the problem, you know, and they quicken our demise, and we're supposed to respect that. It's fucking appalling. Just horrible. You know, just awful, man. Awful. You know. You look at the measure. You know, what is commensurate? You know, what is the equal measure of, you know, what does this person deserve? What is their commensurate, you know, reward for their political activity without being targeted by the government? Nothing. They should get nothing for it. They should get nothing for not being targeted and claiming to be, you know, legit political, you know, opposition. You know, every political figure you see either is directly controlled by them or is doing things in a way that they have no problem with at all. And considering these people are spiritual bottom feeders, okay, and you know what sickens me all the time is that they say things like, well, you know, we'll help you as soon as you're willing to admit what you're doing isn't fair. We'll help you when you take all your videos down. I mean, who would say these things? I mean, this is the world we live in. This is the political environment of America. That sums it all up right there. We'll help you as soon as you start bootlicking the way that we are. And you telling the truth isn't fair. I'll give you an example. Say my top martial artist challenge, right? Some people say, well, it isn't fair to people who cannot beat you, is basically what they're saying. And you see how ridiculous that is? It's not fair to people who cannot beat me. I should change the challenge in a way that allows people who cannot beat me in real combat to have a chance. Make sense to any of you? I mean, look, you can say you're the top martial artist at doing katas or forms. Fine. You're the top martial artist in the entertainment. You're the best entertainer among any martial artists. Fine. You're the strongest martial artist. Fine. You're the best at breaking bricks. Fine. You're the fastest martial artist. Fine. You know, but when it comes to a challenge that actually shows who is the top martial artist in the traditional definition, where it matters most, don't expect someone to change the challenge to allow people who cannot beat them in real combat to have a fucking chance. That's ridiculous. You know, and I've gone over this time and time again where I make the comparison. Okay, I say, look, if you can't stop me from hitting you, then what makes you think you could stop me from stabbing you in a street fight? You know? What makes you think that? The fact of the matter is you couldn't. And should I change this challenge? I shouldn't. If you can't apply dexterity more masterfully than I can, if you can't couple the skills that are needed, agility, dexterity, technique, regardless of what him thinks, you know, you'll see a karate guy says, no, you're doing it wrong. A kung fu guy say, no, you're doing it wrong. A kempo guy can say, no, he's doing it right. You know, everyone has their opinion about technique. But what works? What is the most applicable? What has allowed somebody to be the best? That's all that really matters. You know, going back, you know, you could say you're the top martial artist when it comes to form. But when it comes to application, which is all that really matters. During the ancient times when martial arts were developed, were they training people to put on a good show? Were they training people to wrestle while people are getting stabbed left and right? While the enemies are going through motherfuckers left and right? Just boom, one hit to the head with a club, you're gone. Bow, you're gone. Grab you off the chair, bow, you're gone. While you're wrestling on the ground? No, it's not practical. You know? So by the only standard that really should count, applicable martial arts skills, application of combat skills, you know, that is what my challenge is for. So if you feel like, oh, you're not giving other people a chance to get their respect, if that's what you mean by what you're doing isn't fair, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There's other ways to get their respect. Some people like people who can do fucking, I don't know, a triple backflip or whatever. You know, there's other, you can be a fucking entertainer, but don't sit there and pretend that what you're doing is comparable to being fucking Heru. When it comes to the martial art world, I am a god. They fear coming into the ring with me. That is God status. When you put $3,000 on the fucking line and they're scared to even accept your challenge, that is God status. That is like, I am God, fear me. And I'm not saying I'm God. I'm saying it's God status. There's a difference. In the martial art world, I am a god with a little g. They fear facing me. The same reason people fear, you know, if God came down to earth, they say, you know, and it says, who wants to accept my challenge? You know, what would they do? How many people would step up? They wouldn't. It's the same reason they don't step up. Revelation 6:15. They hide. Because I have manifested the energy of God. And as a result, I'm the top martial artist in America, and I am being persecuted for my political views by people who do not acknowledge the existence of God, and people who half-heartedly pretend that they believe, and people who are in secret societies who are more concerned with controlling society than doing the will of God or what is best for humanity. People who lack love, compassion, honor, self-respect, what have you. And these people absolutely are spiritual bottom feeders. They are Satanists, the worst criminals, the LGBT community, the feminists, the atheists, and racists. In that order, from worst to least worst on the top 6 worst philosophies there are. Okay? So, is calling these people out not fair? You say, well, you know, there was Black Panthers who were atheists. Mandela, you know, was part of an atheist communist movement, but when you really look into what he's reading, he had no intention of destroying religion. You look at what the Black Panthers were doing, many of them were religious, and their goals, show me where it's written that their goal was to destroy established religion. There was some atheists among them who probably wanted to do that, but again, none of these people, none of the great civil rights activists in history that were black at least, or that were acknowledged by all of us, okay, had a goal of destroying Christianity. None of them. It's important to note. But all of them on some level knew that the people in charge promoted atheism and wanted themselves to be seen as God. Okay, here's some part two so I can finish what I've been saying. So going back to them saying things, they say dumb shit. You know, they'll drive by and say things. You know, they'll say things out their window like they're on their phone, but it's obviously to me. And they've said, what you're doing isn't fair, obviously directed at me. Sometimes they'll look at me and flat out say it. And they've said, we would have killed you if it wasn't for your father. You know, you usually drive away, or they'll be in a place where, you know, I could fucking kill him, yeah, but, you know, it's small, you know, it's a small fish. I'm going for the big fish, baby. I'm gonna tell you, back in my younger days, you know, I've done things to them. I know for a fact that they're pussies because I have put in work on these bitches. And I'm not going to elaborate on that anymore. Okay? And what do they do about it? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. Just kept on gang stalking like a bunch of sissies. Because these people don't want to go there with a real revolutionary. If anything, they'll hire someone, they'll outsource it to somebody who has some balls. Because them, 99.99% of them are complete fucking cowards. We all know cops are cowards. We all know intelligence agencies are fucking cowards. You know, they do their surveillance with drones these days and fucking computers. They don't even go in the field very much anymore because they're fucking cowards. They don't want to get pulled out their fucking van and fucking stabbed. You know? Because they're cowards. So, when you think about it, when you consider everything that's going on, there's no other way it could be. You know, if you're not a targeted individual, you are not qualified to be a civil rights leader in this day and age. Who are you, if not on their side? You know? Imagine if King was doing what he's doing and nobody threatened him, nobody tried to kill him, nobody assaulted him, he never went to prison. It's like, you know, would he still have the same credibility? Would he still be relevant? Would people still have listened to him? It's like, how could you do this in this world we live in and nobody's persecuting you? You know? Or it's a superficial act, you know, oh, I'm being persecuted when you're really not. And you know, there's plenty of bitches out there that do that because they understand what I'm saying is true. You'll see many people pretending to be persecuted who really aren't because they know damn well that if you really are a political activist, really going against the status quo, they will persecute you. Period. And I think it's very disgusting that there are people who wish to discount me as a leader and to pretend that I'm not qualified to be a leader because I'm being covertly drugged, because I'm being persecuted. And I say to all of them, if you are not being covertly fucking drugged, if they are not running a psych op on you, you are not qualified to lead anyone but your own fucking family. You're a bootlicker. Was Malcolm X persecuted? Were the Black Panthers persecuted? Was Mandela persecuted? Yes, 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 and yes. That's part of that comes with the territory. And when you don't see it, it's like, huh? That's like claiming that you're a bodybuilder, but you don't have any muscles. You don't see it. You're like, you're not who you claim. You do know that you're not who you claim to be, right? You know? That's like saying you're the top martial artist and you didn't accept my challenge. You know, it's like, you do know that there's a guy who fucking does 10 hits in 1 second in the most populated state in America who's been fucking saying for over 2 years that he's the best and he put $3,000 on the line to anyone who can beat him and $25 just to show up. You know, anyone who claims that says he's not the best and hasn't beat him, we're not going to respect you. You know, walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. I've defended my claim 10-0, flawlessly, thank you very much. Walk the walk, don't talk the talk. Matter of fact, that's the name of this 2-part series. Walk the walk, don't just talk the talk. That's what I meant to say, don't just talk the talk. You can talk the talk if you walk the walk. Oh yeah, you know, if I made 100,000 videos, fine. I walk the walk. I does this shit. I'm fucking Heru. You know? When I speak, those with wisdom listen. Those in complete denial don't listen. And those who have sold their soul completely troll me. And that is exactly what you would expect from uncontrolled opposition, from a leader, and in my case, from the top martial artist in America. Thank you. A lot of you who don't understand gang stalking, this has very little to do with spirits and spirituality, other than controlling your perspective and using these ideas to try to downplay what is really going on and to cast doubt on what is really going on. You know, they've learned, they learn things and they can apply things. But thinking outside the box, critical thinking, deductive reasoning, no, they're not too bright. They have a lot of experience at this stuff, and what it really boils down to is doing studies and clinical trials and non-consensual experimentation, mostly drugs and technology, and throwing in other stuff. They want to amplify your fears. They want to circumscribe any resistance. They often question the victim with very circumspect questions, well thought out questions, to see, how can we play someone out as crazy? How can we further our techniques of, social control? And one of the main things going on here is trying to get people to respect certain peoples. So this is also part of why these are shrewd serpents, and not too many of them are cunning. They're not too smart, okay? The best way to look at this, to truly understand what is going on, is people who aren't too insightful. These people, when it comes to telling them what to do and for them learning things to do,